All right, you guys are ready anytime.
5, 4.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Abelardo Hernandez talking to you, and welcome to Charlando con la Comunidad. And also, might as well I'll go ahead and thank Cherry and Bill for helping me produce this portion of the program. And today I want to talk a little bit about the love, the people's love for weapons. It seems to be quite a big thing about it. About a week or two ago, there was some sporting goods store was awarding locks for guns, and I think they passed out 1,000 of them, and they managed to give them all away. And I can imagine how many more people didn't get any or didn't really need any. And it seems to me like, where did all these people come from all of a sudden? Giving away. It kind of reminds me of that law that they passed that they can go ahead and sell marijuana, and all of a sudden the whole state wants marijuana. So it's kind of a thing. Before people were kind of hiding it and all that. But anyway, all of a sudden everybody was trying to buy the drug, and the same thing with guns. I didn't realize there were so many people who have these guns, and I guess I don't know what they use them for. They claim that every time I ask somebody, why would you have a gun? He said, well, for protection. And then I said to myself, well, then in that case, why do we need police? And why do we need National Guard? Of course, the amendment says something about forming a militia where people can gather the weapons and then fight against oppressors. So to me, it just kind of amazes me how many people own these things. And anyway, so if let's say there's another few 20, 30, 40,000 more people who have these weapons, then we ought to get rid of the National Guard, because they could form a militia and protect the whole state. As far as that goes, it's kind of strange that the way people buy, and they don't buy just one. They buy a lot of them, and then they could just have them for show, or I don't know if they actually use them or what. I think and maybe because when we were kids, we used to go to the movies and watch the cowboys shoot each other up, and then in the war pictures too, they fire, and we used to make guns out of with rubber bands and shoot rubber bands at each other. And then later on, I think my brother used to own a BB gun, a Red Ryder BB gun, and we used to shoot at little targets and things like that. And then once in a while, somebody would maybe even kill a bird or a pigeon or something. And I guess maybe that's why the love for guns has always been around. I remember some of the movies that we saw, though, cowboy movies, there was a lot of bad people in it. But some of these movies, you didn't see too many people get killed in these movies like they do now. But there was a lot of shooting and everything, but you never saw too much of the actual people getting killed. But anyway, also, after I left this one job with the city part-time, I was offered a job at the skeet range. And I was going to take that job, but then I found out that they were applying for a beer license at the skeet range. And they said, well, it's not like you think so. It's just that maybe people have a chance to drink beer after they had done all their firing or whatever they have to do. But then I said to myself, what if they have already indulged before they even got there, and then they want to drink a little more yet? So I reclined the job because mainly me and weapons just don't get along, and especially if people are going to be drinking. And then another thing too, people get their kids trained. They say, well, as long as he has the right training, well, that's a better way to kill somebody if you're well trained. Because if you're not well trained to go around firing weapons, then you're not going to be able to shoot at whomever you're firing at. But that's another thing that I just don't understand. They take their kids and they teach them how to use a shotgun or I don't mind people taking their kids hunting so they can observe and learn some things, but when they actually have them fire weapons and all that stuff. When I was in high school, in ROTC, we learned how to fire certain weapons, but just for qualifying. And there was what they called a team of marksmen who had a team, and they used to compete. But they didn't use military weapons. They used small weapons like a .22 rifle and things like that. But we learned how to disassemble an M1. It didn't have a firing pin because we couldn't fire it, but we had to learn how to use it. And then in the military, the only weapon that I ever fired was a carbine, because also for qualifying, you had to qualify when you're in basic training. And from there on, I never saw another weapon again. I never, never had any kind of contact with any kind of weapons. If we had to go guard part of at the Air Force Base, if we had to go guard something, we more or less, they didn't give you anything. I think they didn't even give us a nightstick. All we did was walk around the airplane and make sure that nobody approached the plane. And then also, it seems to me that they should have used air police to do something like that. And we used to also guard barracks at night, walk around them all night long. For what? I don't know, but we didn't need any weapons. But like I say, all this love for weapons, and some people just have weapons that they don't have just small weapons or pistols or whatever, but they buy these assault weapons so they can practice. They say practice, but what are they practicing for? I don't understand. But anyway, that's one of the things that I think it really puzzled me about the love for weapons. I know in my family, my dad used to have a revolver in a drawer, and it was unloaded, but we weren't even if it was unloaded, we weren't allowed to touch it. So we just kind of opened the drawer and looked at it. It just kind of everybody was afraid to touch it, And it was a beautiful chrome-plated .38 caliber revolver. But like I say, and then one of my uncles, he was quite a hunter, and when he passed away, my dad didn't want anything to do with the rifles. He had rifles and shotguns and things, and I think some of the people came and took them away, but like I said, we never. And I don't think anybody in my family has ever owned any kind of weapon. I know somebody in my daughter's family owns one, but maybe one or two, but they keep them out of the house so they can when they need to go maybe hunting. That's when they use them a lot. But that's what like I say, it just puzzled me why do people feel that they have to have these weapons in their homes or wherever they keep them. I think if somebody comes and breaks into your house, it seems to me they are more afraid than you are. So if there's going to be any kind of danger, they're the ones that are going to hurt you. And if you would have to almost sleep with that weapon in your hand and ready to fire if somebody comes into your house. If you have it in the drawer, or if you have it in the closet or wherever, by the time you get out of bed or do whatever you have to do, I think that this person who is breaking into your house would probably already be able to fire at you. If you know, and like I say, they are probably more scared than you are because they're the ones that are breaking in, and they could pretty much hurt somebody. And like I say, most of those people who claim that they have weapons in their home to protect themselves, now that people are able to carry weapons, maybe I don't know if it's safer or not, but we're going to go ahead and take a little break, and then maybe later on we'll come back with something a little bit different, where we would talk about chat about other things that are going on in the community. So I just heard also that today that the Korean War veterans from Iowa are going to get to go on one of these flights over to Washington, like the ones they did here in Nebraska for the Second World War veterans, and also for the Korean veterans. So I will be back in a few minutes, and then we can go ahead and chat about something else. We'll be talking to you later on. Okay? Thank you.
Clear.